Hello, this is Black Gesture. This is Black Gesture Matters. It's been a while since my last one, where I unfortunately have to apologize for weeping uncontrollably at some point. Uh, I've been meaning to cover a topic, and I got a fire going here, as you can see, so it's more fireside now than it ever was. And, well, thought this might be a better angle. Might be. My dog comes and visits, you might see more of them. Um, I think the lights adjusted again, I guess. I had a CPU looking before. You will know this if you're listening on the listen. I don't think most actually watch. You know, so you watch it later. So anyway, links everywhere on the Grabby and YouTube. YouTube's the last place that I upload to. So from Friday on, I've got a problem Friday on. Still looking corrected a censorship issue that they probably should before I get on that again. But of course, I'll try to get on post to the big spot, at least the audio. I'm talking about this issue because it hits personally. I don't like the idea of being personal about things too much, but I kind of have to be because I'm a mind freedom advocate. And a lot of people with various backgrounds have been targeted by the RCMP lately, and it's probably not isolation either. I mean, state police probably do something similar. Certainly do. They call it Card 7. This is what is known as and you'll see the video and audio. I'm not sure the audio anyway. Yeah, so I'm gonna get to something else that I have trends right now while I talk about that. The issue at hand, which I don't really have anything. Chantel Moore and wellness checks. Thing. Wherever federal cops have jurisdiction, like possibly language anyway in Canada. Of course, with the psychiatric use police brutality brigade of the local police all over the world. Sometimes accompanied by mental health team and stuff like that. It really has, when people think that they can catch them quote wellness more, but police brutality an insane person afterwards. And that's the whole trick here. That's the whole problem. The whole problem. Well, it's not the whole problem. Part of the problem with brutality. Basically, a way out of comeuppance. Like in my case with the VPD, the Vancouver police just said, well, he's got no criminal record. Well, we'll just toss him into the mental ward. Harm to yourself and others. Given the fact I've never been a harm to myself or others, and even if I was a harm to myself, that'd be my business. At least in a liberal society. So, yeah. So I've got, so this has become a very huge problem, and what they have to do is they have to stop forcing treatment on people and allow them to possibly get it on their own if they feel they need it voluntarily. It's the whole idea of having a voluntary system for a lot of things that make things better. And that's what I'll say on that topic. And cops who get engaged in whatever I went through and so on, they should be prosecuted. I mean, these people, a poor lady being dragged by the hair, another guy got beaten up. It's just crazy. But they're crazy, alright? That's what they'll say. That's what they thought they'll say anyway, until they realized some people had cameras on them. Those are the lucky ones, the ones who get the cameras on them when it happens. And the ones that die sometimes are kind of lucky in the sense that they don't have to live with it. Anyway, that's that. Pardon me if
Where shall we head to next?
just pop that over. Fast travel. Try to do a lot of things at the same time and just doesn't always work. And what we got now? I'm thinking I could never really succeed in entertainment because apparently I'm not child hungry enough. They invite me to the club, I'll call the police, right? It seems that there's this ever-growing problem with Hollywood and pedophilia. Well, it's not ever growing. It's actually I've been thinking that the only thing standing in my way when I was growing up as a kid was the fact that my parents were degenerates that would sell me off to a casting director to live through me. But the thing of some sets like Betrayed and I don't know, never any story and stuff like that. I'm thinking there could have been these perverts were around there. They're probably eyeing, and being an innocent kid, you don't know that. It's a good thing, good thing I never got stuck in a quiet spot or anything like that. It's like weird. And Canada's a funny situation because it's like sex tourismville. So if they like to shoot in Canada, places like Canada, because, well, Canada's got lax rules. Up until the Harper generations, hi Gar, I'm gonna breathe through this. Canada, up until the Harper years, Harper and the Conservatives, they increased the consent age from 14 to 16. The Liberals were fighting this, saying it was homophobic. I don't know what that has to do with it, but okay. At least that's what I recall. There were a bunch of activists calling it homophobic, and really, we should be. I mean, um, should bisexuals, gays, and stuff all be considered into kids because of that sort of conflation? That's not a good idea. It wasn't then, it's now, and now it's 16, because the conservative view would be to allow consent at 16. They can't even vote, they can't drink, they can't do anything. You need one more year to die in military service. It's crazy. So, so you get these WB shows, or we can call them the Nexium Project. They're up here, and a lot of them are kind of tuned to children in this, or tuned into trying to tune to a youth mentality, which doesn't quite work out because it ends up being, I think, probably middle-aged, near retirement age women who, or even males who want to feel young through these people. But I suspect that it was probably a way to relate. I guess you could say the pathological mentality is that they want to relate to these people, just like them and their Mickey Mouse Club fuckfest they call Nickelodeon shows that aren't animated. And yeah, things might improve a little bit though. Video and stuff wise, I have a new computer coming, and it might actually stream better than this thing. I won't know until I try, but I'll try streaming at some point on the new computer and see how that works. I'm still waiting to get my Samsung back, so anyone saying crank calls to my cell phone will not get through because I have no cell phone right now. The fucking battery fattened out and the whole thing shut down. So I'm waiting on whether or not I'm waiting on getting a replacement. Let's see. Yeah, so we got these stories, and even if some of these things were untrue, enjoying this. That's a really weird thing to put out for something like this. Even with some of these, some of them were untrue. I mean, they all can't be. Like, I mean, some of them listed Woody Allen, and I think Woody Allen's just a victim of a crazy broad. I mean, that's my view of things. Roman Polanski. I mean, just think of that. I mean, Roman Polanski and crap. I mean, that's just a list site, but it's not totally wrong. Well, Woody Allen is a bit of a, not quite. I mean, think of it. Jeez. How they? I grew up in the business, really, and I guess I'm glad I got good parents, man. I mean, that's better than all the success in the world, having good parents. And one that looks so mean that the one stare would cause cause your face to peel open and stuff like that. Pedophile cases attracting attention. Pedophile cases in Hollywood attracting attention. 2012. 20 fucking 12. And you still kind of wonder how much foot dragging did Iron Man do before saying anything. 2017, 2018. Some of these things, like Polanski, one goes back way back. I mean, and they still defend him too in Hollywood. 100 active high-powered pedophiles. Jesus. I don't say this on principle. It's just disgusting. And I'd like to see them arrested because maybe some of the decent people can, work more. It's just like freaky fucking shit. And Garvey's right. Just stop fucking the kids. This one. Clergy, Hollywood, community leaders. I mean, it's like some Jesuit fuck hut. It's like crazy, man. Looking to buy a 6-year-old boy. That's a weird thing, man. It's just crazy. I'll post these things. I mean, even the Daily Beast, and this is a left-leaning thing, so they'd probably want to defend Hollywood more than anybody. But no, this is in 2015. An open secret. Oh, it's like fucking crazy. Brian Singer comes up so many times, it's hard to even doubt it. I mean, they have a right to trial and be proven guilty and stuff like that. Just like I would say for priests and school teachers and anyone else has easy access to children because of their job. But it's really crazy because it's something that is very close to home and something. I mean, I dodge a bullet. I mean, it's like to me. I remember only fun times doing things as a kid and stuff like that. I must have dodged a bullet. People should probably end their accounts as soon as possible. Johnson. I guess the Chinese company refused to sell it to an American. I'll speak about the freedom of speech factor now a bit. Make a general statement on the First Amendment, how it applies to the internet. The First Amendment applies to the internet. And you take this to a court, whatever you want. Because no law, they can write no law that abridges or restricts freedom of speech, right? Peaceful assembly, freedom of association, religion, and all that other stuff. And what's happening now is that social networks are violating this. And how are they violating it? Well, Al Gore once boasted that he created the internet, and that was a boast about a vote he made in the Senate. Made him 1% of the vote, 1% of the votes that were cast that day. Now, I haven't checked his voting record on that, but and I thought he was a little old for that, but it was about the creation of the ARPANET and the eventual internet, and that was a Department of Justice, Department of Justice and defense. I get confused a lot because of that world policing thing. So it seems like I guess it's the Department of World Justice and Department of Injustice. Period. Anyway, so what we have here is the internet is a creation of legislation, which means that if the internet is used to violate people's freedom of speech, even through my private company. What you have here is legislation being used to violate a person's free speech. And the same thing also occurs when you have a public company that trades through the SEC, and you have lenders also that like credit cards and stuff like that get their privileges of being able to lend at their respected rates through the central bank, which is also through legislation. So all these legislative-based things are being used to restrict people's freedom of speech, discriminate people on their opinions, and things of that matter. And these things are First Amendment protected. Meaning, there are First Amendment protections attached to all these things. You cannot be denied these things based on your opinion. Now, as far as employment goes, that might be a different story. Because you're not... HR doesn't exist on an internet service, so... or if it does, I guess they'd be screwed on that too, maybe. But as far as monetization and any discriminatory acts on any speech, period, is against constitutional law, and that's the important thing to gather. You can't. Technically speaking, the whole first 10 Bill of Rights items would fall under that. I say first 10 because after the 10th, even the amendments that are there, are kind of in conflict with 10, and 10 basically endowed the rest of the rights to individuals and the states. But the first 10 applied to are the protections from the federal level. But we have, if you have a gun business and an internet service provider cuts you off, that would be a violation of your Second Amendment, and basically they have that business on the internet because of a legislation that created the project and the inevitable that became the internet, and still is the internet. Technically, it's like a 51st state. It doesn't matter where you live, if you're using the internet right there on that machine, on the server, you are protected under the First Amendment. You could be in China and you're protected under the First Amendment. They won't see it that way, but the governments, some of the governments won't see it that way, but that's that, right? Even when you think of certain trade agreements that are accepted under certain legislations, that also could construe that fact that the other governments are understanding that anything traded upon that agreement would be covered under the First Amendment as well. The internet being a very international thing, there's a lot of trade issues associated with that too, in that sense. But basically, you should look at anything that's possibly legislative, has its roots in legislation, and realize whether or not you have First Amendment protections there, because that's certainly the case. It's most emphatically the case. Now, one could argue that might be a good thing about a central bank. One could argue that might be the good thing about the SEC. It might be the good thing about the fact they had that vote, and the fact the Department of Defense did create build the internet, because the restrictions on speech restrictions are much better. The protections are much better than if it were on these unprincipled corporations that will gladly benefit from free speech, but wouldn't really want to enforce it on their own platform, even though that their business is basically free speech. I mean, really, how stupid are these people? How do you set up a business model for something that you'll ban? It's just stupid, and you'll see down there, that's on shirts, by the way. But that's my main account on Twitter, at GZLFB. I'll take my IBS pills. I'm a top, and I still have IBS. What did I say? Okay. I should be giving IBS. I shouldn't be getting it. Or I shouldn't have it. Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe something did happen in Hollywood with a Hollywood producer that I don't remember. That's the explain the IBS. Huh? No, it's part of the psych meds that I was forced on regarding the first issue. That and a lot of things like my regression, my learning disability regressions. Fought so hard to get around those. Anyway, yeah, I post this post. It got flagged. They told me to take it down. I said no. Put an appeal on it over a year. They haven't touched my appeal. They just kept it in limbo. But I refused to delete it. I know some of these pussies like Hambly and even Dix will delete a post just to get their Twitter account back on. Or now Hambly deleted his Twitter account. That's just nutless too. Go because they don't want. It's better to be kicked out, because I mean, if they really don't like you, it's probably better to stick around. I mean, Gab's great. Parlor sucks shit. It's terribly designed. I'm interested in what slug.com's like. That might open something there. Minds is alright. Orbis.net is very good and promising. Float.app's very good and promising. Especially with issues of streaming. Those last two are impressive. Gab is right now the most functional and most well, you can pin. I have 4 comments pinned on it. You can't pin one on Parlor, and it's got a much better interface to fix it up. Added new servers to deal with the increased numbers, and they've really done a job putting it together. It's still not perfect, I guess, but none of them are. But it's the closest thing to. Even Facebook and Twitter are worse when they updated their look. Not that I don't like the fact Facebook has a dark version, but yeah, I'm on all of them still, on some level. I mean, I spend more time on Gab than all of them, I think. And Mostly because I like I mean, there are rarely people doing anti-Semitic and racist stuff, but when they do, I like laughing at them. And most of them are pretty agreeable there, so that's why I still have Twitter. I wish some of these people who disagree with me more would show up on Gab and stuff, but whatever. I mean, it's good to have a variation of places to go for discussion and stuff like that. The civility in Gab is incredible, almost to the point where you kind of you kind of start missing the nastiness, but of the other stuff. But mine's is okay too, and Orbis is very civil too. Uh, yeah. So all about the alt tech. Um, twitching. So my temple's a little. I see. Maybe that's the way of facing the light. Let's see. Uh, so, yeah. Talking about alt tech all this point. All this time. There's some stuff of that information about where I am there, and there's unsilenced voice is interesting. Sort of a. It's even got the Donald on there still, so like a blend of Instagram and Reddit, I guess. Vote VOAT. I got something on there too, but haven't opened it in a while. Parlor is just my permalinks at some of my permalinks at Gab, because really, I mean, they didn't really think that thing through. ThinkSpot, I have a link to it, but it's very complicated addressing, and sometimes people can view it from outside. Sometimes they can't view it like it's a public post. So it's a little weird there. By the way, did you know that anyone could any arch conservative could make a complaint under the same thing that makes them a platform over decency laws, because apparently that's not a protection. So people could literally sue over the porno and stuff like that on there because they see a penetration shot. I'm not suggesting doing it, but technically it's. I mean, and technically it is a discussion platform. I was worried my lap was going to run out of battery power. I already ran out of one bar for some reason. So yeah, this is happening quicker than I thought. They're philosophic issues and stuff there. I like to target things at a philosophical level. I mean, generally speaking, with these issues, you can pretty much look into them and stuff like that on your own. But yeah, we're Chinese and TikTok and stuff like that. First Amendment and the internet. Let's try to take a look and see what else is on Gab Trends, if it matters. LA protesters shot rubber bullet, hands it up. I don't get this rubber bullet shit. I mean, you know, when you get a riot, let's face it, you need to knock off a couple. You need to use the lethal shit on a couple. Remind them they are mortal. This is a riot. It's not a freaking. It's not a rally that gets out of hand or anything like that. It's not a rally. It's a riot. And the idea of rubber bullets, that's not going to remind them they're mortal. Well, it might eventually when the blunt force trauma affects them, but they call it less than lethal now because they used to call it non-lethal. And apparently, one guy in Vancouver was hockey riots, which is much worse. Someone died of a rubber bullet, which was a kind of a funny joke for a while. But it's probably what confuses people a lot too about taser stuff. Why that man took the taser and thought it. There's no way he probably wouldn't have. Because he probably saw Sanchez on the news getting zapped, proving it was no big deal. Back in the "Don't Tase Me, Bro" period. So and the shot back because apparently they thought he would do a John Woo, no, not John Woo, a Chow Yun Fat jump around and shooting of the taser gun at the cop. Uh, anyway, that's another issue entirely. So fucking crazy. Act shit that I think people can do. But yeah, they need to use real bullets on some of these people and remind them they can die. Remind them they're immortal. These are riots. It's not a rally. It's not nothing. It's not simple civil rights activists getting a they're riots. They're making this worse for everybody. All the movements involved and everything. I mean, if they're violent, you defend violently. Period. EU defunds Polish cities that declares themselves free of LGBT ideology. So what? The ideology is the problem. So is the conflation of all those letters. Now, to think about this thing. I think there should be a separation of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transsexual, and all that other crap. I mean, yeah, they want to keep getting members to these political groups and stuff like that and keep soaking in cash from insecure people, just like all the other political groups. And they want to, and that's a lot better if you can conflate people of all sorts of things that aren't even related into doing it, which is probably why they will accept pedophiles, because they'll want that money too. It's a business decision. The extra letter, every letter they add, is more money in their pockets. It's nothing to do with the decency or the rights of people or the individual at all. Even if you separate the letters up, you're still ignoring the individual factor to a huge degree. I mean, that's that. I mean, but thinking if you're gonna think about each classification, I don't think gays and lesbians have an interest in what bisexuals need, and I think a lot of them detest bisexuals, at least in the political realm of this sort of thing, in the acronym realm. And I hate the idea of being called a member of this community. I'm not a very communal person, and I feel they turn their back on me anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, but are you LGBT? No, I'm maybe a B, but I'm actually an I. Individual. We know that. What you do isn't what you are, or who you do isn't what you are. And with my taste, it'd be more of me in them than any of them in me. So, nothing ain't going inside me. Nothing ain't. Double negative. So yeah, I mean, Poland's not wrong. They just don't want the preachy politics. So what? That's not bad. I mean, Poland's not going to make it illegal to be any of those letters separately or whatever, as far as we know, or the cities in Poland or Hungary even. Well, maybe the T. Maybe. I mean, they're not necessarily making it illegal to identify as. It's just an issue about IDs and stuff. By the way, no ID has man or woman on it. It always says M or F, male or female. And I think that's a confusion. It's certainly trans women may very well be women, but they are never going to be female. So I don't see why he wouldn't have female on there. I guess maybe some places do put the gender on there as well, but I don't know. My ID had F on it once, and then they realized a clerical error when I got it renewed. And now it's an M. So I guess I'm technically trans male. Uh, I'm all male from birth, man. Got some potent seed hatchers. I was just watching a video. I was kind of wondering, how much do lesbians get about abortion? Uh, Plan B. They're going to take abortion to a proper area. Morning after pills will stop clinical surgical abortions if they're available, just like aspirin. You wouldn't have to worry about the death of a child. And once you're a zygote, you actually got a will there to be more than uh, a bacteria or something. So when you hit the uterine wall, but this is something you do before it hits the uterine wall. So it ain't murder. But you can make an argument that abortion's murder. So there should be more focus on the debate about Plan B, morning after pill. This would be RU486, was it? There's huge debates on that. It never made sense to me when they were opposing that stuff. Planned Parenthood doesn't even like to bring it up. So I think I might wrap this up then. So yeah, check out shadowban.eu if you want to want a decent search function that searches out shadow bans and other things. You can check any account. You're welcome to donate, give a thumbs up. You can even send snail mail donations too. I mean, I got that on the website. Just make it care of whatever show and put my real name on the check if you send or money order if you send something like that. I'm not a guy with an abundance of space, I guess, but so I'm not one to solicit sending large packages. I'm also sick of the ticking ones, by the way. Jesus Christ, will you stop that? I'm guessing you can also go and buy Slave Master on Steam. Get a copy of that. Get a copy for as a gift. Play it. Enjoy it. Check it out. It's on the website. Linked in the embedded on the top of the website. Well, yeah, top of the website, blackchester.com. Link, or what are you forgetting? Virtue signal and things like that. And even you can even wear my appeal over there. So care about online censorship, especially limbo crap. That was actually election meddling, by the way. If you can even notice it on the name where I actually mentioned the election I ran in that year. Well, not that year. It was, yeah. No, it was that year. Yeah, I announced back then before they shut. Well, they don't do that. Maybe, I mean, how do you miss that if you? Yeah, keeping on mute gets me all the other things on YouTube. We'll piss BitChute off, but BitChute's worth going to. Libra's worth going to. They're all in there. Brighteon, I'll get back to you on that. Float, follow on Float, follow on Gab, Mines, and Orbis. Well, Orbis is a friending thing. Yeah. It's like old Facebook. It's like, wow. It's like before they went public. It's so much better. Okay, thanks for watching, listening, or whatever. Or both. And I'll hopefully get to this more often later. I'll get back to my game. Because, well, sleep, I hate it.